a freelancer working late in his rental, a large family finishing Christmas dinner, two missionaries in an isolated cabin. We treat our homes as our ultimate sanctuary, the one place where we feel entitled to drop our guard. Then, the silence is broken. A series of firm, unexpected knocks at the front door in the dead of night. When a stranger arrives on your porch at 2 in the morning, they aren't lost, and they haven't made a mistake. They are performing a calculated assessment to see who is inside. This diagram represents a specific tactical progression used by predators to evaluate a target. This intruder's playbook moves through 3 distinct phases: the probe, the encirclement, and the breach. Recognizing these patterns transforms the experience from a random scare into a documented tactical progression, revealing the cold logic behind the terror of a midnight visitor. Phase 1 is the probe. This is an initial, low-risk test designed to verify if a house is occupied without immediately alerting the police. Around 8:45 p.m. on a Thursday, a graphic designer heard 4 firm knocks. Looking through the peephole, he saw a man in a dark jacket and baseball cap holding a cardboard box, claiming he needed a signature for a delivery. The man read a fake name from a handheld scanner. When the designer said no one by that name lived there, the man stared for a long, uncomfortable moment before claiming he had the wrong address and walking away into the darkness. The designer spent the following nights in the dark, watching the man return. Through the peephole, he watched the intruder standing at the edge of the porch, slowly turning his head to scan the windows and the sides of the house, recording the pattern of the lights. In Glasgow, Scotland, a family experienced a quieter probe. Throughout the weeks leading up to Christmas, they heard faint, ghostly knocks echoing through the house, often occurring when the streets were silent and most of the household was asleep. These hit-and-run knocks were designed to quietly test the family's sleep schedules. Because they never heard footsteps or laughter, the family realized this was no neighborhood prank. It was a systematic check for activity. The probe isn't about immediate violence, it's about data collection. The intruder is identifying exactly when a home is most vulnerable. When the front door fails to provide an opening, the predator moves to phase 2, encirclement. They abandon the porch to test the entire physical perimeter. 2 missionaries in rural Idaho experienced this escalation while stationed in a tiny house in the middle of nowhere. A single knock sounded on the kitchen window. Moments later, another knock came from the laundry room. Then, a final knock hit the window in the living room, just inches from where one of the missionaries sat. They realized someone was stalking the exterior in a perfect circle. When help finally arrived, they found a single set of footprints in the fresh snow, tracking a path that completely surrounded their home. Encirclement changes the dynamic. The house is no longer a shelter. It is a physical perimeter under siege, where the intruder controls the exterior and the occupants are trapped within. The final stage is the breach. Stealth is discarded in favor of a violent, direct attempt to enter the home. In Oregon, a family huddled in a bathroom while a man in a yellow raincoat screamed and slammed against their front door. Despite the proximity of their neighbors in the duplex, no one called for help. Weeks later, the intruder returned, cutting through a window screen to steal from a nightstand while the family slept. The breach reached its climax for the Scottish family at 2 a.m. on Christmas night. A teenager, still awake in the dark, heard heavy, intoxicated footsteps climbing the stairs inside the house. A stranger was already in the hallway, wandering into bedrooms. Even after the father physically forced him out the door, the man punched his fist through the glass window, shouting threats while his face pressed against the jagged frame. When the physical barrier fails, the situation shifts from a psychological game of nerves to a direct struggle for control of the space. Ending the cycle requires a sudden, decisive intervention to neutralize the intruder's progression. In Scotland, the father had to physically drag the intruder out of the house. In Idaho, the landlord arrived with a shotgun, driving away a pickup truck that had been waiting in the dark. Police tracked the Scottish intruder by following a trail of blood in the snow to a nearby playground. The Oregon intruder, however, was never found. The most chilling resolution came for the freelancer. After he called the police, they caught the delivery driver attempting to break into a nearby house while the owners were away. Inside the suspect's car, police found a pile of empty boxes and a fake scanner. He admitted his method. He used the boxes to see who answered the door. If a house stayed dark or silent after multiple probes, he marked it as empty and returned later to force entry. Broken glass is replaced and marks are painted over, but the memory of a predator methodically testing the locks remains. For these victims, a door is no longer just an entrance, it's a threshold that was systematically mapped.